Hi, everybody. It's Deborah from PeopleLovingAnimals.com. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching my video today. Today's video is called Taking Your Cat on a Vacation, Tips for Traveling with Your Cat. If you are new to this YouTube channel, welcome. I own a website called PeopleLovingAnimals.com where there are hundreds of articles and blog posts and videos all about the care and health and safety and training of dogs and cats. So I'm happy to have you with us today. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for supporting the channel, and I hope that you enjoy today's video. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, we are on my website, PeopleLovingAnimals.com. In the description box of this YouTube video, I'm going to give you a link for this article. I'm not going to read you this article. I'm just using it for the video today to just as a guide so I don't forget anything. But I will give you the link in the description box. So you're going to be able to go here and you're going to be able to read this article completely if you'd like to. And you're going to be able to click all the links in it that I'll be referring to throughout this video. So in this video, we're just going to be talking about tips for traveling with your cat. Now, it is fun to take your cat along with you when you travel, especially if your cat is okay with it. Some cats are, some cats aren't. You know, some cats are very comfortable getting in the car with you, going to somebody's house. Some cats are even comfortable traveling. Some cats are terrified. Okay, so I have had both. I've had many cats in my life, and most of my cats, actually all except for one, they were not scaredy cats. They weren't, up for anything. I mean, you had to be careful with them, like when if I would move, for example, But I had one cat in particular, her name was Miss Abigail, and she was a fraidy cat, and she would get so terrified of any change. I moved once, and she hid under the couch for like 48 hours. I couldn't get her to come out. So always, the comfort of your cat is always the first priority. And no matter how badly you might want your cat to go on vacation with you or travel with you, if it's too scary for them, then don't do it. Now, also in this, on my website and also on this YouTube channel, there are other videos about that and, about taking care of your cat, things you can do for your cat. Specifically, there's a video of it's called something to the effect of how many days can I leave a cat home alone, and that's one where if you can't travel with your cat, what you do about having them taken care of while they're gone. So I'm sorry to get off on a little tangent there, but I just want to make sure that we talk first about the fact that your cat's feelings are the most important, and if it's too scary for them, then don't take them, okay? So, taking your cat on a vacation, first of all, it's most important to plan ahead. Provide comfort from home. Bring along their favorite blanket, their favorite toy, something that feels and smells familiar to your cat. That will bring them a lot of comfort. Always clip their claws before you take them anywhere to reduce your chances of being scratched and also anybody else who may be handling the cat while you're traveling. If you don't do it yourself, have your vet's office do it. Most vet's offices will do it either for free or for a small fee. You can also take your cat like to Petco somewhere, but it's a good idea to have their nails trimmed before you go because, if it's scary for them, might be hard to get them in the carrier and stuff, and you just don't want to be scratched. This is very important. Identification and vaccinations. If you're going to travel with your cat, make sure they have a collar with their name on it. I always refer people to a website called pettags.com. In the article, I'm giving you the article in the description box, so you can go in here, you can click on all these links. I'm giving you the link for pettags.com. I think it's only like $6. You can get a little tag to put on their collar that has the cat's name and your cell phone number. It's very, very important to have identification on your cat when you're traveling, and also depending on where you're going, especially if you're traveling internationally, you're going to need the cat's medical records, proof of rabies shot, those kinds of things. Again, plan ahead wherever you're going. If you're going to be on an airplane with your cat, if you're going to be leaving the country with your cat, even if you're going to be driving across the border with your cat, call ahead and find out what documents, what do you need, for the cat before you go. Obviously, you should have A cat carrier. Now, I'm giving you a couple links here. I have found cheap prices and a really good selection, a lot of different varieties and different sizes on Amazon. I've given you a couple links here to go right to those searches for the cat carriers. Make sure you pick the right size carrier. Your cat should fit inside it, obviously, but they should be able to do one lap around. They should be able to turn around and lay back down inside the carrier. If they can't turn around in it, then the carrier is too small, but you don't want it gigantic because you don't want them falling all over in the place. So the best way to pick the size is that your cat should be able to stand and turn around in the carrier. And again, I'm giving you a link here to Amazon to go ahead and get a cheap price on one and to get a lot of varieties. Now, one little thing about cat carriers, make sure whenever you put your cat in the carrier that you make sure that every one of the latches, usually there's latches all around the outside of them, make sure all the latches are secured properly. I had a friend, I'll never forget it as long as I live. It makes me sad to this day. She took her cat to the vet. I happened to be at that vet that day with my own pet, and we ran into each other. Her name was Pat. And I said, "Oh, Pat." And she was an older lady. She had two cats. She had both of them in carriers. She had them in the back seat of the car, and she was getting them in the vet's office. So I offered to help. So I was standing there next to her car, and she was getting the cats in the carriers out of the back seat. Doesn't one pop open? The latches were not closed. The thing pops open. The thing crashes onto the ground. The cat goes running. She never saw him again. And it was very tragic because the cat had a very badly injured foot already. That's why he was at the vet. He was supposed to have surgery. She and I searched that neighborhood for weeks. For weeks. We never found that cat. Okay, she never saw him again. So I don't mean to be overly dramatic or be sad or anything, but it is so important to have your cat in the carrier when you travel, to make sure the carrier is locked. And also, she had no identification on her cat that day. Even with that, even with what happened, if she would have had a collar with the cat's name and phone number, she might have gotten the cat back. Okay, so I'm having real life experience here. It's not like, oh, what if this happens? Okay, this happens. I've seen it happen. So it's important to get them in a carrier, keep them in the carrier. Don't walk around with your cat in your arms. No, it's not okay. If that's okay at home, that's fine. Or if that's okay if you take your cat to your girlfriend's house or whatever. But when they're in a traveling situation, it's a different situation. They're in unfamiliar territory. There's going to be sounds. There can be honking horns. There can be dogs barking. There can be all kinds of activity that could startle your cat, have them leap out of your arms, rip your chest apart with their claws while they're at it, leap out of your arms, and like I say, be gone forever. So please, if you're traveling at all with your cat, even if you're just putting your cat in the car to go over to your girlfriend's house, put the cat in a carrier for their own safety, please. Also, you should train your cat to be in the carrier. If your cat's not used to being in a carrier, it can be pretty traumatic. I've wrestled more than one cat into a carrier myself. The best thing to do if you're going to travel with your cat, or even if you're not, you should always get your cat used to the carrier, because you got to put him in the carrier to take him to the vet. If you ever had an emergency, if the cat became ill, you don't want getting them into the carrier to be a part of the problem. Do you know what I mean? Especially if you have an emergency, you need to get the cat in the carrier for whatever. So my advice there is to just get a cat carrier, leave it open in the living room, let them check it out, don't shove them in it, just let them check it out, maybe put their little blanket in there, maybe put a little treat. If they like catnip, you could put some catnip in there. Let the cat get used to it. If they absolutely won't go in the carrier, if it's been there like a couple days in the living room and they won't go in, pick them up and put them in and close the door, but let them right back out. Like, don't scare them with it, but let them get used to it ahead of time. And it'll make traveling with your cat a lot easier if they're already used to the carrier. And the carrier itself, you don't want the carrier itself to be a big gosh darn deal. Do you know what I mean? You're nervous enough, you're traveling with the cat, you're trying to get him in the car or whatever. So take the time ahead and get the cat used to the carrier. And also, not just for traveling, but just in general, because, like I say, if your cat needs to go to the vet or something, they need to be able to be familiar with riding in a carrier. Car travel. Keep your cat safe when you're driving. Always put your cat in the carrier in the back seat and attach the carrier with the seat belt. Now, some of them are made now, so a seat belt will slide through. There's other ways to do it. If you can slide it through the door, even if you put the seat belt around the carrier, try as hard as you can to get the carrier secured with the seat belt. Because if you had to stop fast, or God forbid you got in a car accident, you don't want that carrier flying all over the car. Um, and you don't want it hitting passengers either. You don't want to be hitting the head with a flying cat carrier with a 10-pound cat in it should you get in an accident. It's for everybody's safety. Also, make sure that don't put your cat in and out of the car without the carrier. It's too dangerous. You can open the car door, that cat can go flying out. Like I said, if you're in an area where there's traffic, your cat could get hit by a car. Your cat could run away and you never find him again. It's just not safe at all. Cats are too easily startled. They're too easily distracted. Also, cats are too brave. Most cats are very, very brave. They'll go. They don't, they're not wimpy where they're going to be hanging off your apron all the time. Sometimes cats, they'll go. They're fearless, some of them. So always keep your cat safe. Keep them in the carrier. When you've got them in the car, keep them in the carrier. The other thing too is you don't want your cat wandering around the car. You might say, "Oh, my cat likes to ride on my lap in the car." Well, first of all, that's not a good thing if you get in an accident. Let me give you a couple of examples. 100 years ago, I had a wiener dog. I've had a couple of them. I had one named Maggie, and she and I happened to be in my husband's pickup truck at the time. So we were in the front of the pickup truck. I was driving. It was the old bench seats, like I said, 100 years ago. And the little wiener dog, Maggie, was sitting beside me in the truck. Well, I had to stop fast. And doesn't that little wiener dog go flying splat onto the floor? Now, luckily, she was okay. But there's a couple of things wrong with this. First of all, the dog could have been injured. Secondly, it's a huge distraction for me. My dog is flying around the car, and obviously I'm concerned for her. So had that dog been in some sort of a carrier, had she been in a car seat, something like that, when I stopped fast, the dog would have been okay, and I would have been okay. The same wiener dog also, one time when we were driving, I had her free in the car. She was not in a car seat or anything. She actually went down into the floor on the passenger seat and went in behind, came up on the floor on the driver's seat and was underneath my pedals. I literally could not push the brake pedal down because the dog was underneath. Now, luckily, it happened to be a stick shift vehicle that I was driving, and I was able to downshift enough to slow the car down to get off the road to get us out of that. But honestly, that could have been a terrible accident. I could have hit somebody. I could have ran a stoplight. We could have all been killed. I'm not being dramatic. This is what could have happened with that little dog stuck under there. So, you don't want your cat under your seat, under your pedals. You don't even want them distracting you in the car. And like I say, if you had an accident or even if you had to stop fast, you don't want your cat flying around the vehicle. So please learn from my experience and always have them in the carrier and not just when you're about to get out of the car, but always in the car because you don't want the distraction and you want it to be safe for you and your cat in the car. You should provide water for your cat. If your cat is in the carrier, the best way to provide water is with a hamster water bottle. Here, I'll click on this for you. I give you this link in talk about one of these. You see, some carriers little water dish. I think that's stupid. I mean, it's okay if your cat's and you're in the hotel, it's going to sleep in the carrier. They have the water dish there. Okay, that's fine. But one of these is enough for a very. You see, this one is $5.79 on Amazon. Let me get my face out of the way here. I'm sorry, my internet seems to be very slow today. So it's just one of these little water bottles that you attach to the side of the carrier on the inside, and they can off the end of it, and that way it doesn't spill all over. Okay, that's the best water for your cat. Also, keeping your cat calm. Keeping your cat calm requires quiet and boredom, especially if you're in your car. Don't crank up the music. Don't constantly interact with your cat. Just quiet, quiet. Another way that you can keep an animal calm in the car is to put a blanket over their carrier. Now, obviously, make sure they have air. Make sure that one side of the carrier is open so that there's air. But sometimes, if they can't see anything and they're under a blanket, that's often very calming. I would also suggest that if you're traveling with your cat in an airport and you're carrying your cat in a carrier through the airport, throw a blanket over it. And again, make sure the cat has air, but throw a blanket over it, because the less they see, the less there is to be afraid of. Okay, so now the other thing is you definitely, if it's the first time traveling with your cat, especially if you're taking them on an airplane, talk with your vet first, because they can give you a lot of information about safety for the cat. They can give you information even about car rides for motion sickness. They can give them something for nausea if your animal gets motion sick. They can also give something to a mild sedative for a cat, for a car ride or a train ride, that will kind of help the cat through it if you do have a scaredy cat that you have to travel with. So you should always, check with your vet first on keeping your cat calm. And like I said in the beginning, the cat being scared, it's a big deal. They can get really, really terrified. And if you have an elderly cat, that becomes a serious health issue. Stress is always a health issue for cats. It always is. So it's just very important to cover all these bases. Feeding your cat, if you want your cat to eat a meal, like say if you're at a friend's house and the cat has to eat while you're there, or if you're traveling and you're in the hotel and the cat needs to eat, it's like, okay, I can't just put your dish of crunchies down and you come and leisurely take a few whenever you want. You need to eat the meal now, because we're going to get in the car, we're going to get on the plane or whatever. It's easier to get a cat to eat a whole meal if it's moist food and not dry food. As a general rule, they'll go for the moist food, the canned cat food, better than they will just the dry food. Now, I do have an article that I'm linking to in this article, Best Food for Your Cat. It is important for cats to have a moist diet. That's a separate issue for another video, another day, but I will give you the link here to find out why your cat should be having a moist diet. But if your cat isn't used to eating moist cat food, first of all, they should be. It's better for their health. Secondly, if you're going to be traveling, a week or two before, start to get them used to the canned cat food so that they're familiar with it, because it's easy to travel with. And like I say, it's easy to give them a meal and have them eat it right then. Okay. You can see how when you're traveling, if you're in the hotel or whatever, you need the cat to eat, you know, when you need them to eat. And so that's just a little tip that sometimes it's easy. Now, the other thing, again, if your cat tends to get car sick, obviously you're not going to want to be feeding them before you put them in the car, but at the same time, they do have to have food. So again, talk with your vet for the best thing. They let them have maybe a small meal an hour before you get in the car. You can, like I said, you can ask the vet to give you an anti-nausea pill to be able to give the cat, figure out how you're going to give them that pill, put a little treat or whatever. So just think about this ahead of time, that your cat might get an upset stomach traveling, whether it's from nerves or from the motion of the car, and talk to your vet about feeding your cat. And you don't want to put them in the car with a full stomach, but yet you don't want them to be hungry either. And they get low blood sugar and everything, just like us. So talk with your vet, and just keep it in mind that you want your cat to be comfortable, and you want them to have food and water. You don't want them to be hungry. You don't want them to be thirsty, right? Never take your cat out of the car without the carrier. Don't have this "he'll stay with me" mentality. Just realize when you're away from home, like I said, it's an unfamiliar environment. There are several distractions. There are things that can startle your cat. And if your cat runs, especially at like a car stop on the thruway or something, they could be hit by a car, and you may never see them again. So always make sure that they're in the carrier, keep it latched, and always transport them in the carrier. Plane travel, you should always, if you're going to fly with your cat, and again, Just think about this, before you travel with your cat, just make sure that it's okay for them and make sure that you're not being selfish and that you want your cat with you, but that flying ends up to being a terribly traumatic experience for your cat. And again, I'm going to try to remember to link it in this video. The video I made about how long can I leave a cat home alone, because you can leave them home alone at comfortable. I've got tips in there on how to do it so that they're safe at home. You would rather have that than have your cat have some sort of a terrible experience or have something happen. So again, when I'm talking about flying on a plane with your cat, make sure your cat's okay to do it, okay? But also, cats who are checked like baggage, they end up in the belly of the plane and they're at risk for extreme weather, or they can get lost, just like luggage does. You don't want that. Have the cat in the cabin with you. Call ahead. Make the plans ahead. Call the airline. Make sure they approve for you to travel with your cat. Make sure that you have an airline approved cat carrier. I'm giving you the link here to get one that is airline approved. You might have to have a rabies certificate, some sort of health certificate from your vet. Again, if you're going to travel with your cat, get an airline approved carrier, talk with your vet about it ahead of time, and also talk with the airline about it. Find out all the regulations. What kind of paperwork do you have to have? What can you expect for the cat? Could the cat get motion sickness on the plane? All that sort of stuff. Plan it ahead. But these are just a few things that you'll need to think about for that. Also, whenever you're traveling with your cat, again, even if you put him in the car to take him over to your girlfriend's, or if you're traveling, internationally with your cat, anticipate emergencies. Be prepared. Bring a couple of hand towels. Well, you should always line the bottom of the carrier with a hand towel in case the cat throws up or pees or something. At least you can kind of get rid of that dirty hand towel to clean up the carrier. If your cat vomits or pees, have a few plastic bags, have some paper towels, some hand towels, in case you have some sort of accident, with the cat getting sick or something. Also, cat safe cleansing wipes like baby wipes. Just have a little bag with you, with supplies for your cat. Um, Traveling with your cat doesn't have to be a traumatic experience for either of you. The trick is to plan ahead, do training with your cat ahead of time, get them used to the carrier, get them used to whatever food you're going to need them. And you can take your cat lots of places. If your cat is okay with it, if you're taking all the precautions, you're doing all the things for not only the safety of your cat, but also your cat's feelings and how they feel and whether they feel safe, okay? So I hope that this video has been helpful. If it has, I would appreciate it if you would please give it a like. If you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I do a video at least once a week all about the care of cats and dogs. And a couple more things. I donate to animal charities. A lot of the things, not all of the things, but some of the things that I recommend to people in my videos and in my articles, for example, these couple of things that I've given you links for here, the carrier and that sort of thing. These are links on Amazon. I'm an affiliate for Amazon. So that means that if you click on these links that I'm giving you, and if you purchase these items with my links, I get a small commission from Amazon for that. So I give 10% of all of those commissions that I earn from my website, peoplelovinganimals.com, and also from this YouTube channel to animal charities. And I give you the link here in the article, but also if you go to the homepage of my website, I'll just show you real quick, the homepage of peoplelovinganimals.com, you will see a list of these that I donate. Okay, so you can go to the homepage, you can see a list of the charities that I donate to. So for that reason, I'm going to ask you to please refer me to your friends. Please forward them this video, other videos on my YouTube channel. Maybe throw a link to my website, peoplelovinganimals.com, on your Facebook page, on your Instagram, or send it out to your friends and family who have animals, because for two reasons. One is that I do donate all of the 10% of all of the commissions that I make to animal charities. So if people are going to be purchasing things for their pets, a portion of it might as well go to benefit other animals via animal charities, and also because it might help them. You know, there's lots of articles and videos on my website for everything you can think of. You know, getting your cat to use the litter box. What do you do if you have an aggressive dog? Puppy training, health issues, all kinds of things. So maybe if you might have a friend who has a cat or a dog and they're having some sort of issue and they need help, and hopefully my website, my YouTube channel would be able to provide help for them. So for that reason, I would love you to share it. Also, I'm going to give you the link in the description box to do this, but you can also do it in this article. I do have a cat lovers email list, and I also have a dog lovers email list. If you do subscribe to either one, you can subscribe to both. You get a free gift. If you subscribe to the cat lovers email list, you get a free cat training guide. And if you subscribe to the dog lovers list, you get a free dog training guide. And my email subscribers, every week or so, they get a new email from me, and it contains either an article or a blog post or a video that I've done, again, all about the health and care and training of cats and dogs. So I would love to have you on board as a subscriber to one or both of those lists. Trying to think if there's anything else before we go. In the description box, I love this angry cat in the suitcase. He's so cute. He doesn't look like he's happy to be traveling. It cracks me up so much. So again, in the description box, I'm going to give you the link to this article. You're going to be able to click all the links in it. I'm going to try to remember to give you that other link about leaving your cat home alone if you have to travel without them. And I'm also going to give you the links to go ahead and subscribe to the either the dog lovers or the cat lovers email list. I would love to have you on board. So again, share this video if you would please, like this video if you would please, and I hope that this has helped you. Best of luck to you and your cat, and please feel free to comment below. Let me know if you've ever taken your cat anywhere. Maybe if you have some tips that would help the other people listening to this video. If you would leave your own personal tips from your own experience in the comment box, I would appreciate it, and so would everybody else who ends up watching this video. So again, thank you so much for visiting. Thank you for watching. My name is Deborah, and my website is peoplelovinganimals.com. Thanks again. Bye-bye.